plans and the manifesto, this tool can actually, with no doubt, can take us a long way in realizing or taking this country to the middle income status and the first world. I thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. Honorable Swaka, 3 minutes. Then Honorable Kainza, Kaberuka, or both. That order. Then I get the group here. Yomoki, Kamateka.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. Madam Speaker, it's my pleasure today that among the members of Parliament who are here to see how Parliament has reached 100 years, I'm one of them. I want to congratulate you, Madam Speaker, of course, government, and my fellow colleagues. It's not easy. We have gone on record like those people who were there at the beginning. However, Madam Speaker, I want to thank you. As some of our colleagues said here, you have done a lot. Madam Speaker, I remember the other time we are going to our former MP, Honorable Ambassador Doris Shuha, and she was saying how women were suffering, those who are breastfeeding. But now we have a breastfeeding center. And this one is a milestone, honorable members. Somebody has even just mentioned how some members were purportedly chased, but you said whether they are rebel MPs, they sit. But as you know, Madam Speaker and honorable members, NRM, we don't have grudges. These members are still our members and even cadres. So now, if you had taken the other advice that you chase them, maybe they would have run away from the party. But some of them, we are still with them and very strong. Finally, Madam Speaker, we have members of Parliament who are here in the last parliaments, either 5 or 6. The way they are languishing down there, it's not easy. So members, as we commemorate the 100 years, let us think, Right Honorable Prime Minister, I know you're here. Why can't government set up something, however small, for these principal citizens who are here, who made the laws for this country? You have MPs who are down there in the villages. They are 90 years, 80. But they don't get anything. So, Right Honorable Prime Minister, through this house, why can't government give a gift, at least for these elders of ours? The president had promised 100 million, at least for a member of parliament, those who are in the 50th, up to the downward parliament. So, Madam Speaker, I want to thank you, and I want to thank members for the zeal. We may have differences, but we move together. And this is what we call parliament. Even if somebody has a dissenting view, let him talk after you become the same family. I want to thank you for God and my country.
Thank you. Honorable Kainza, Honorable Kaberuka, Honorable both in that order. Then I'll get I've seen the group there. I've seen Ahmed, I've seen you, Honorable Rwanda, I've seen Ahmed, Riomoki Mosije. That is local government. Jennifer, the masks are really a problem.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I joined the Parliament of Uganda.
Is that Koro? How about the island man? Okay.
Okay, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I joined the Parliament of Uganda and the people of Uganda to congratulate us upon the 100 years of the legislature. Madam Speaker, from March 23rd, 1921 to 23rd March 2021 is a big milestone, which is worth celebrating. Madam Speaker, the first debate in the Parliament of Uganda was conducted on 19th September 1960. And Madam Speaker, with the rapidly changing world, with the evolution, changing parliament, evolution in the different parliaments, I appeal that empowerment of members of parliament, of the legislators is key, especially empowering them with skills. This will enhance the debates in the House, and it also enable us to be effective in our roles of legislative representation and budgetary. Madam Speaker, in 1955, the first woman representative was Honorable Paula Allen Kisosonkole, and she was nominated by the Buganda Luchiko. It's on this note, Madam Speaker, that I applaud the framers of the 1995 Constitution for providing for the rights of women. Madam Speaker, especially Article 33.5, where we have affirmative action for women. As we speak today, we have 152 female representatives vis-a-vis the other parliament. Now, we had one, the number kept on increasing, but of late, this is a milestone we celebrate as women of Uganda, and we thank the framers of the 1995 Constitution. Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Kaberuka. 3 minutes on Kaberuka or both. I've seen you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, as we mark the 100 years of the existence of the Parliament, Madam Speaker, allow me to support the motion mover and the motion that will recognize and appreciate the journey and the stewardship that we have seen along the journey. Madam Speaker, I want to thank you in particular because this is now, at least we have you. You have been able to lead this parliament, and we have been able to see amelioration, the collaboration of the government, and more approach to inclusive participation of the public. Madam Speaker, this parliament has graduated from one level to another, and Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for allowing the parliament to go to public, because it is you in the first time to see members of parliament sitting in the house. I mean, members of the public sitting in the house to deliberate, and we have also seen how their views can find their way on the floor. I think you deserve, surely you deserve to be thanked. Madam Speaker, we have also seen how transparency and accountability has been ensured by this House, especially through the accountability committees. And Madam Speaker, we have seen how you have tolerated the shares of opinion, Madam Speaker, to participate in this House for deliberation of Ugandan issues. Madam Speaker, we want to tell you that we get concerned when some people try to belittle the parliament, especially when they are doing their work of checking the executive. I think it is here that, Madam Speaker, since the motion mover is the minister, I want to thank you, Minister, for bringing this as a recognition of the House, of the Parliament, in working with the government to ensure transparency and development of this country. I beg to move, Madam Speaker, and I support the motion that will recognize the speakers and recognize the role of Parliament in the governance and development of this country. I beg to move.
Honorable Boss, followed by Honorable Ngavirano, Honorable Mwesige, Amede, Honorable Namuyangu, then Otieno, Kamateka, then Yoga Bot, then okay, I've seen it, and Minister. 3 minutes, please.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable will also speak. I've seen his hand. He's on Zoom.
Who am I to be among those who are witnessing this ceremony today of celebrating 100 years of the existence of Parliament in Uganda. I congratulate you. I congratulate myself. Right Honorable Speaker, you enumerated a few speakers who have been here. I think you are speaker number 10. But how are those other speakers who are still alive? How have they been treated? We've seen other former speakers being board chairpersons, being ambassadors, like our former speaker, Francis Butagira. How do we treat our former leaders in this country? As we celebrate 100 years, should be a time for us to reflect on the gains and the achievements. Right Honorable Speaker, I am aware of the limitations of Article 93 to amend a motion of the government, but we need to accord our former speakers of this House. We just passed recently Administration of Judiciary Bill that had a retrospective effect to the Chief Justices of Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker, may I implore the House that we do the same for these few surviving and the families of the former speakers. This is a place of dignity. Right Honorable Speaker, this is a place of dignity. You are a Speaker of Parliament. Number 3, Madam Speaker, I have seen men kneeling when they are talking to you, including myself, because we respect you. How about our former speakers? Right Honorable Speaker, you had initiated in the 9th Parliament, parliamentary outreaches. How I wish that this could be taken further in the next Parliament, that we see this Parliament as it is now, sitting in regions, sub-regions, so that we take Parliament and they see, and we handle the concerns of those regions from there, with the ministers here attending. For a week, we are paid our fuel, we take our allowances, and we do work. Courts, judiciary, now they go and handle matters in the regions. Why can't we take Parliament? Maybe that is when people will appreciate the role of Parliament. That's when they will appreciate that we are not only here to drive big cars, but we fight for their cause. Right Honorable Speaker, a time like this of 100 years, the first Japadola to come to the Legico was Paulo Fono. And me and a few other Ugandans and Japadolas who are here, we are very lucky and very fortunate. I congratulate Ugandans once again. Thank you.
Honorable Gavirano, Mwesije Amede, Novonamu yangu, Karunji, Otieno, Kamateka, Senyonga, about and close with Robina, then I come this side.
Thank
Clement,
you, Right
Ogalo.
Honorable Speaker.
Okay, I come this side.
Right Honorable Speaker, today when I was in the show in the House, I read the literature that is attributed to the first day, the 21st day in 1921, where it said that Uganda has moved another milestone in its steady progress. I was amazed by that statement that 100 years ago, we had started our journey of steady progress, which the NRM has resurrected and we are moving on. Right now, Speaker, I have also read many other documents, including old laws, ordinances, and I found so many of them still very valid to date. Therefore, I want to first thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the initiative, for the expected museum, and all that you have put up, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, reflecting on the 100 years, I know that at some point the state progress was cut short and was interrupted. But right Honorable Speaker, today at 100 years is a day of further running. We are still in state progress, but we must make sure that, especially us as Parliament, that this state progress is never again tampered with. I call upon the members of this arm of government who have been privileged to be here in the last 100 years, where Right Honorable Speaker have also had a chance to be here for 10 years, staggered, and I thank God that we have been part of this history. Let us build on this foundation to be the makers of this country, so that at 100 years, what we have achieved, nothing ever obstructs us. Because I know we have a rich history, and this history has a lot of ups and downs. Therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, I would pledge that we make this 10th Parliament a second foundation over the next 100 years, and Right Honorable Speaker, members who are here, you make that foundation and build on it and be the cornerstone of the development of this country, Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to personally thank you for the initiative, for the spirited performance of supporting and defending this institution, which is 100 years old. You have looked at it for the last 20 years or so years. It is now your child. May you continue to nurture this child of yours to grow, so that especially those other institutions which may want to interfere with us.
Thank you. Honorable Musije Amede Namuyango, then we'll come this side.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
3 minutes.
I rise to support the resolution of Parliament to commemorate 100 years of existence in the Uganda's legislature. Right Honorable Speaker and all colleagues, permit me also to congratulate the NRM government for ushering in peace that has enabled Parliament to perform uninterrupted since 1986. Likewise, Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to congratulate you for being innovative, having created many channels and many innovations that have enabled Parliament to deepen and widen performance in its fulfillment of the constitutional obligations. For example, my colleagues have mentioned that we should appreciate the remarkable capacity strengthening initiatives in Africa, like the budget office, that has been admired and benchmarked by many countries in Africa. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to congratulate you for having initiated what has been also appreciated by my colleagues, bringing Parliament closer to the population, which has enabled creation of partnerships between the population and the Parliament. For example, you have enabled to train many younger students from university. You have created capacity, and these students have become very supportive to all the parliamentarians who come here. You have strengthened the staff here, and this staff have become dependable to most of us when we are doing our work. However, Right Honorable Speaker, I have one prayer. The competition between opposition and ruling party MPs that sometimes tend to blur the issues of common interest. I pray that the next Parliament should work together in harmony, irrespective of the political divisions. For example, it is my considered opinion, Right Honorable Speaker and dear colleagues, that the opposition and ruling party should work together on issues of common interest. For example, prosperity for all strategic security, and guarding our identity and heritage. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, I congratulate you.
No, Ahmed, then Honorable Namuyangu, then Karunji, Kamateka Otieno, Senyonga Abut, Robina, Minister, then here.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and thank you, the Minister, for the statement. I congratulate the Republic of Uganda for the milestone, and I congratulate all of us here present as members of Parliament. The motion was rich in history. History is only relevant when it is progressive. Today, parliaments are being looked at in the lenses of so many things, but most especially in the lenses of good governance. To unpack a bit of that, good service delivery, healthy coexistence, respecting diverse voices, human rights, to name but a few. I congratulate you, Honorable Speaker, for being equitable, for allowing healthy political debate, allowing members of either sides to debate. On the issue of service delivery that continues to dodge this country, I call for review on how we engage with the Treasury memoranda. Members of Parliament are rich in experiences of the common man because the Parliament has been taken closer to the people, and we are rich with a lot of issues that go on in the society. But somehow we are not connecting very well with the political parties and the executive. Let's all do self-retrospect and see how we can improve service delivery. And lastly, I call on of us here present to foster and encourage healthy politics in this country, to thrive as members of one family, members of the political, of the opposition and members of the ruling party. We should move as one. The ugly sins of the past elections should not be part of our history because they taint the institution of Parliament, which is at the center of politics. I thank you very much. I beg to move.
Namuyangu Karunji, Kamateka Otieno, Senyonga Abut, Gomba, Minister Variamusi, Mr. Chiwanda. Oh, agriculture on stock.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity I raised to support the motion. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank God that we are the leaders today as we celebrate 100 years for Parliament. Right Honorable, I had an opportunity to come in Parliament as the youth MP in 1994. And I have seen a lot of improvement in terms of infrastructure. At that time, even to speak of a baby center was unheard of. But more importantly, I want to thank the leadership, especially the President, the speakers of Parliament, because even before the President was also part of the speakers, for really being visionary in terms of allowing diversity in representation, the youth, the women, the people with disabilities, the workers, MPs, but also recently, the older persons. Madam Speaker, I'm a beneficiary, and I want to thank you for being visionary. Right Honorable, The committees of parliament have played a key role. But again, I want to thank you for the guidance in terms of widening the scope of these committees. Committees like science and technology were unheard of before, but now we have all these committees. I want to agree with Honorable Boss when we say we should move parliament to the people. A few days ago, I was in Amudat, and I was told that no radio in this country reaches Amudat. And if leaders want to speak to their people, they have to go to Kenya, 160 kilometers. So it is time that we move and go to the people as a parliament. But I want to thank the committees of parliament that have evolved through time in terms of oversight, especially the accountability committees. At least in the local governments, you put the leadership on tenterhooks and have been able to see a lot of improvement. Right Honorable Speaker, again, I want to thank this parliament that we have been able to do so many things, gender mainstreaming, issues of equity, but also of recent, where we have incorporated the SDGs in our planning and budgeting. Many countries have been able to benchmark from us so many things, including having the speaker. The woman speaker in this parliament. And Right Honorable, you've done us pride. We really cherish you, and you've sat in this parliament, you presided over without even moving away, like one of the colleagues mentioned. You sit here from 2 o'clock up to late hours in the night. We cherish you, Right Honorable. And we know that as a woman, even outside this country, Uganda, everybody is proud of you, and we shall always be grateful for your service. And we just pray that you continue steering this house.
Thank you, Honorable Karungi. Honorable members, concerning the radio reception in that part of the country, I think I'm on record on this hazard. I think for the last 10 years, each time I go to Sebe, each time I go to Karamoja, I come back and say, please, can something be done? But nothing has been done. When we were vetting our new ministers of ICT, we asked them and said, please solve the issue of communication at the Kenya-Uganda border. They have not delivered. They have not delivered. Honorable Karungi, followed by Honorable Otieno Amateka.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I also want to thank God that the celebrating of 100 years has also found me in this house, and so it's a great privilege. I want to thank all the last parliaments for the great work they did, especially the parliament that brought in the 1995 Constitution, which was a turning point for Uganda in many ways, especially as far as the woman is concerned, Madam Speaker. And so from there, we have moved very well, and we are still moving on very well. So celebrating 100 years today really was very much important and necessary to remind the Ugandans and all of us about the achievements since the parliament started. Madam Speaker, I am happy in that constitution, the affirmative action was supported, and we have all spheres of representation here. But Madam Speaker, there has been a very great outcry out there, especially from our councillors, the women councillors at the sub-county and the district, even us members of parliament. We represent a whole district, and the men have constituencies which are very small. We get the same salary. So it's not very fair on that area, because you find you have, for instance, in your district, you have 3 constituencies, you bury everywhere, you have to be everywhere, and you are getting the same salary. That's where the problem is still. I wish it could be addressed in the next coming parliament. Maybe that one would be very good. Madam Speaker, I want to also recognize
the effort you have put in, especially in bringing our parliament to the people, because before COVID entered, I remember we were having students from different schools who would come to see our parliament here, and they would really enjoy and be happy. Madam Speaker, I want to suggest that, Madam Speaker, we put this on program to ensure that at least in every month, we have many districts. We look at all the districts and maybe say in Kanungu this month, we are going to ask if there are maybe youth who are there, students or peoples, whoever, maybe can come in that month one day with another school. They come and debate in our house here. We make it a policy and make sure that every month we have schools debating in our house. Madam, I beg, so that they can feel the touch of our parliament. Because when we are there talking to the youth especially, you always see them really admiring and appreciating us. And so it's good that we encourage them from the beginning. Madam Speaker, the issue of salaries. You know, this parliament is the house, is the home, is the kitchen of every Ugandan. Madam Speaker, we have met serious challenges out there. Some of our people are not happy, especially the artists, those who are not scientists. Madam Speaker, the issue of having different salaries and having different qualifications is fine, which is okay, but we are getting some challenges and
Parliament. And then, of course, the other like women, like PWDs and the youths and others. But each district to be represented by one male and one female member of Parliament. Right, Honorable Speaker, we are proud of you. You are our super role model and a true icon of women power. But above all, we thank you and applaud you for your firmness and professionalism. Speaker, your professionalism with which you have handled the business of this Parliament and the support you have given to all members of Parliament, because you have been there to champion our cause and to support us in everything. We thank you, and we hope that God will give you the desires of your heart. Congratulations, Uganda, on 100 years of Parliament and rule of law.
Thank you. Honorable Otieno. Otieno Senyonga Abbott, Robina, Honorable Yomosi, Honorable Chiwanda, Minister Yomoki. Obote, can I come this side? I'm coming. Centenary. Let me write your names. Centenary. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I rise to support the motion, and also allow me, Right Honourable Speaker, use this opportunity to congratulate, first of all, our President, you, Right Honourable Speaker, and colleagues, and all Ugandans upon this great milestone of 100 years. A journey of 100 years is not a simple journey, Right Honourable Speaker, and I know a lot has changed. And Right Honourable Speaker, when finally the history of the last 100 years is put down, I know your name will feature prominently, Right Honourable Speaker. Throughout this period, a lot has been transformed in the way Parliament presents itself. Today, Right Honourable Speaker, Parliament is the only institution among the other three arms of government which is truly a people's institution. And I think this is greatly part of what you have done to this country, for which we must commend you, Right Honourable Speaker, that you have strived to make this Parliament a truly people's institution. Today, this Parliament is the only institution which can actually feel the heartbeat of the Ugandans. It is the only last resort institution where Ugandans can fall to in case they have problems. So I call upon all Ugandans and my colleagues that we should make sure the kind of milestones and achievements that we have recorded should be maintained and taken to a greater height. I want to thank you, Madam Speaker, as head of this institution, and our President as head of the executive, for maintaining a harmonious relationship between the two arms of government, Right Honourable Speaker. It's never easy. I know we've had glitches here and there, but at least I want to thank you and congratulate you and the President upon maintaining this harmonious relationship between the two institutions. Right Honourable Speaker, I call upon my colleagues and the entire House that let us use this opportunity as a foundation to ensure that we build a greater Parliament that will serve the interest of Ugandans. Right Honourable Speaker, we must not forget that one of the cardinal principles of democratic governance is a separation of power. So I call upon my colleagues and the official Parliament to ensure that this Parliament remains independent. Let's ensure that this House remains an independent arm of government that can offer checks and balances to the other arms of government, more so to the executive, and not necessarily.
Okay. Honorable Uyanja, about Robina Variomos.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I want to join other members of Parliament to second the motion. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank God that I'm privileged to be among those who are celebrating 100 years. I want to congratulate the Parliament of Uganda and the government of Uganda. But in a special way, Honorable Speaker, I want to congratulate the female members of Parliament, including you. Because in 1954 up to 56, there were only 2 female representatives. After another 3 years, there were so many, there were only 6. That means the NRM government have done a lot to support gender and women. Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to congratulate you in another way, because when I read the history, I can see you are the first female speaker. The other one was a deputy speaker. And having managed to steer the parliament for 10 years, I pray for you that you continue for another term, and you made a record of 15 years, which I think no any other speaker has ever done it. I want to thank you for having a concern of your members, that you opened up schemes which can help members of parliament not to starve after here. Congratulations to this parliament, and I know Uganda will continue to succeed until we become a middle income status. I thank you.
Honorable Abbott, Honorable Bina, then Honorable Yomosi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. All has been said, and I also congratulate myself and everybody here. I woke up and I think I'd forgotten that today was a very important day. And when I was passing around, I realized today was a very important day. Allow me, Madam Speaker, to say that in East African region, Uganda has become a learning center for the neighbors. Respect for affirmative action. First time we had a woman who was the vice president of this country. We are having you as a woman who is also the speaker of this country. And I also pray that we have more and more, so that the world knows that Uganda is a learning place for all of us. But what I would say, Madam Speaker, while all has been said, and we are reflecting on these 100 years, there is more that we need to study as Ugandans. What is the feeling of the Ugandans towards Parliament? Sometimes people demonize Parliament, and sometimes people think that we are people here who have come and maybe add ourselves salaries regarding a lot of work that we do. We should also reflect on violations of human rights, because as a parliament, we need to stand firm and stop all this. We should also, Madam Speaker, make sure that the parliamentarians are highly given all that they need so that the work can be done. I pray that CDF, which has also been scrapped in this country, should come out so that parliamentarians can do their work when they have something that can be done. And we should also take stock of all leaders in this country and feel how much they are feeling up to now. I also pray that members who are coming to the 11th Parliament, we have spoken and we have seen how we have been steering this Parliament. It is my humble prayer. We are not praying for nothing, but we are praying that it is only you who can make this institution to stand as an institution with respect, an institution that can give its respect to the people. So I pray that the Almighty God gives you another term to steer this country as a speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Robina. Rakojo. Then Honorable Yomosi, followed by Honorable Chwanda. Then Sempija will go down.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. I take this opportunity to congratulate all Ugandans and yourself and the members of Parliament upon attaining this 100-year celebration. 100 years is something very great and that we should not take for granted. I remember vividly in school during history lessons and during constitutional law lessons that we were learning about the LegCo. And looking now and realizing that it's part of our history and has gone through metamorphosis and come to the stage of the parliament that we are in today is amazing. I support the motion because of that and others. But I want to look at the women in parliament. We know that Honorable Chisosonkole was the first woman representative. That conditions must have been very difficult at the time. But right now, I want to celebrate the fact that the inclusion of women in the legislative process has been eased. I want to thank you so much for this nursery. I was a government servant and we used to have to combine our maternity leave with our annual leave, look after these children. But here, members of parliament can come and have their children here and think and legislate as they know that the children are safe. So when you balance that for them, you help them to think well, they have peace of mind. I want to thank also for the religious freedom that we have here. Members are of different religious denominations, but then we have time to pray, and Parliament has recognized and given us places where we can pray and even facilitated us in getting leaders. There are occasions that we have here where we have celebrations out here and in Parliament, and we have remembered God. Nothing is possible without him, and I want to thank for that. I thank also for the provisions that have been given to members of Parliament to enable them to work in harmony and with peace of mind. You've provided for our health through medical insurance. We have the financial schemes, the parliamentary circle, the parliamentary pension scheme. We have researchers assisting us to do our work. The clerks, thank you, Madam Clerk and the rest, for assisting us to make our work easy, training, and I would like to pray that the quality of our debates continues improving with the training that we get, the capacity building. My worry is also about the records. How are we going to continue preserving our records of Parliament? We are getting into, or we've got into an era where we have e-records, but we still really look.
Honorable Yomusi, then we shall bring in Honorable Mutevi on Zoom after Honorable Yomusi, then we go to Honorable Kiwanda, then Sempi Yomoki, then Kivaju Clement, and I will decide. Yes.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. I also stand here to support the motion moved by Honorable Muruli Mukasa, and I also feel proud to be part of the Parliament that is discussing 100 years of Parliament of Uganda. Madam Speaker, Parliament cannot be wished away in our current political environment. And the Parliament is an institution which reflects the boiling point of the political temperatures of a country. And I want to salute the various parliaments, including the current one, for the work that has been done to shape the development and democratic process of this country. We have moved from far, from slavery to colonialism to where we are. Hearing that the first parliament didn't have Ugandans, and the current parliament is 100% Ugandan, is a very big milestone. Although, Right Honorable Speaker, we still have a section of Ugandans who have a neo-colonial belief, thinking that problems of this country can still be solved by people from outside. I think as a country, we have to reassert ourselves that the challenges, the problems of this country will be dealt with by ourselves as a country. Whether we make mistakes or not, we Ugandans shall continue to write our own history as a country. Madam Speaker, I want to thank you as the Speaker of this Parliament and the previous speakers for continuing to strengthen Parliament as an institution. I think the Parliament of Uganda has grown from strength to strength. But there are still areas which need to be addressed. Right, Honorable Speaker, a section of the public thinks that this Parliament maybe consumes lots of resources of government of Uganda, which is not true. The Parliament of Uganda, when we budget, we give it less than 2% of the national budget. So it can't be true that we take most of the money. And the office of an MP needs to be strengthened, Madam Speaker. The attrition rate in the Parliament of Uganda is very high. Many members lose. Just in the last elections, we lost over 70% of the members of Parliament. And the question is why? One of the reasons is that the office of a member of Parliament has not been strengthened to enable a member of Parliament to play, Speaker, at the constituency level. Yes, we have strengthened the Parliament here as an institution, but when you get down, why are Ugandans voting out members of Parliament? Is it because we don't answer what?
Okay. Half a minute to conclude.
If I could complete it. I was a parliamentary commissioner and worked with you, and we benchmarked a number of countries. If I give you an example of Zambia, in Zambia, they facilitate the member of parliament to the extent that the government builds an office for a member of parliament in the constituency. Government hires an assistant whose minimum level of education is a diploma to do research, to gather constituency issues, so that when you go in the constituency, you know what the people want. In many parliaments, including South Sudan, they have a constituency development fund. Members of parliament spend all their salaries and emoluments to service a constituency. I think that should change. The next parliament should explore areas like constituency development fund. We could use resources available in the country to use part of them to facilitate the work of a member of parliament in order to have an impact at the constituency level, Madam Speaker. So all these issues should be looked at as we strengthen the parliament, as we enable members of parliament to do their work. Lastly, Madam Speaker, I was trying to do a computation. A section of Ugandans think this parliament is very huge. At independence, this parliament had 82 members of parliament. The total population is estimated to have been around 7.2 million Ugandans. When you compute the per capita representation, then it was each member of parliament representing 88,000 Ugandans. Today, in the next parliament, the 11th parliament is going to have 529 members of parliament. The total population is projected now to be around 46 million Ugandans. When you compute per capita representation, it gives you 86,000 Ugandans. At independence, it was 88,000 Ugandans. Today, it is 86,000. So is this parliament bloated? If you use the population statistics, no. A member of parliament per capita representation. So my point is that, Madam Speaker, in the next parliament, the parliamentary commission and the government should work together to strengthen the office of a member of parliament for us as members of parliament to deliver what the population expects from us. I thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Could you bring in Ms. Honorable Matovu, Mutebi on Zoom, then Honorable Chiwanda, Sempija, and then I need to move this side. I'll come back. Honorable Mutebi.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity you've given me to make my humble contribution to this noble motion. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for steering this parliament up to this day when we celebrate a major milestone in the history of our country. Right Honorable Speaker, Parliament is the epitome of democratic governance in any country. And it is very fortunate for us on this day to celebrate this milestone when we have a fully functional parliament. Reflecting on our history, this country and our parliament went through a lot of trials prior to independence shortly after independence and the years that followed, where Parliament could not exercise its mandate to the fullest. It is against this background that I wish to take this opportunity to thank the grandsons and daughters of this country who made enormous sacrifices to restore the sanctity of Parliament, on the basis of which Parliament has been able to legislate and deliver enormous development for this country. It is through this Parliament that we've been able to legislate for democratic governance. We have achieved immense successes in terms of effective representation of our people. We have achieved immense successes in terms of growing accountability. And above all, we have achieved a lot in terms of economic progress, as we are now on the way to achieving the middle income status. It is therefore my humble submission that we give this Parliament the consideration it deserves in order to continue delivering its mandate. I wish to support this motion and also appreciate the leadership in this country that has given Parliament the latitude to deliver its mandate to its fullest. I wish also to appreciate the various speakers that have provided that sound leadership, on the basis of which Uganda has taken the steps and the milestone it has reached today in terms of democracy and overall development. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Kiwanda, then Honorable Sempija, Honorable Kivaju, Honorable Obote Ongalo.
Right Honorable Speaker, I stand to support the motion moved by the Honorable Wilson Muruli Mukasa to congratulate you, the Parliament of Uganda, for this milestone of having achieved 100 years of our service as the legislature. I came here in 2001, Right Honorable Speaker. You've been my speaker as a deputy speaker and speaker today of Parliament. I've seen the tempers, the flares in the House, but I want to congratulate you, the members of Parliament, and you, Right Honorable Speaker, and your colleagues. You've worked with the Right Honorable Edward Chwanuka II, whom was my speaker in the 7th and the 8th Parliament, and whom you deputized, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank Ugandans for having trusted Parliament of Uganda. We've seen you receiving very many petitions from the public. That is a vote of confidence, Right Honorable Speaker. Because when you see members of public bringing their petitions, at times the petitions which may not have been for Parliament, but when you see them, bring them to Parliament, that's a vote of confidence to this august House. The only thing we want to call upon Ugandans is to understand our role as members of Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, the understanding of Ugandans for members of Parliament, the expectations at times is too high, but at times very difficult to fulfill. And that's why you see the turnover becoming lower and lower. Today, we have less than 25% of members of Parliament who made it to the 11th Parliament. And this is because at times our voters don't understand, and the expectations at times are too high for the members of Parliament. We want to thank you, Right Honorable Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga, for the trying moment of this House. I've seen the trying moment of this House when I was in the 9th Parliament, 10th Parliament, 7th Parliament, and I've seen, even after having such trying moments of time, we come together. I want to congratulate you, honorable members. And that has kept us And that's what has earned us respect amongst the people of this country. Congratulations, members of parliament, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Sempija, then Honorable Kivaju, Honorable Obote. I'm moving here, I'm moving this side. Honorable Kivaju, I think you better move nearer.
Right Honorable Speaker, it's an honor for me to stand here to congratulate you, Right Honorable Speaker, the honorable members of the 10th Parliament, our leader of government business, the leader of opposition, and everybody for this wonderful achievement of 100 years of existence of our parliament. But Honorable Speaker, I also want once again, thank you for allowing us to say something on this day, and allow me also to thank Honorable Mululi Mukasa for bringing this motion. But Honorable Speaker, as we congratulate ourselves today, I know that it's not the length of time or years that we are celebrating only. We are celebrating the achievements. And these achievements, that Honorable Speaker, have been reached because of the wonderful stewardship of the speakers that have been here. And we are very, very thankful to God that today our head of parliament is Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga. So we congratulate you. Our parliament is a reflection of best practices, and we are happy to be part of it. And personally, I'm happy to be part of the 10th Parliament. The Parliament of Uganda is a reflection of inclusion, a reflection of gender sensitivity, a reflection of political representation, democracy, and it is, I think, it's a very popular parliament which has attracted everybody to come in to stand for membership of parliament. I've seen most of the good things. I've been a member of parliament to the back bench, and I've also been in the executive. Allow me to say that where I am, I enjoy the support of parliament and the Madam Speaker and the honorable members. Sorry, thank you for supporting my sector and also development of this country. My only call, Right Honorable Speaker, we are leaders. Wherever we are, we should use all the wisdom and knowledge that we have acquired in this country to unite our people. All our messages and the words that we talk in parliament and outside cause unity among our peoples. It is very important that we forge unity in this country, however the different views that we have in terms of political diversity. So that Honorable, allow me to thank you again for allowing me this time, but thank all the members and congratulate them for reaching this day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Kivaju. Kivaju Obote. Kivaju Obote Aza, come this side.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, I support the motion. I join my colleagues in congratulating the executive, yourself, and members on commemorating 100 years of existence. The journey has been long, and I want to congratulate you and thank all of you who have contributed to various debates, and this far we have come. Right Honorable Speaker, in a particular way, I want to congratulate the women members of Parliament, because they never were here before, but they are here and in great numbers, and I've seen them debate issues, stand for themselves, and stand for their fellow women. Right Honorable Speaker, while we congratulate ourselves, we represent the people. We represent the people of this country. And while we are there as members of Parliament, complaints come. We have achieved a lot, but a lot still needs to be done. The complaints we get, and which are a challenge to you, Madam Speaker, in the next House, where I think you will be a speaker, is that most people complain that members of Parliament come to Parliament unprepared. They do discuss unresearched matters, and most of them are absent, especially the public is concerned that ministers are constantly absent from this House. And whenever they are called upon, Right Honorable Speaker, bear with me, these are the complaints we get from the public, and I believe it's our duty and my duty as we celebrate 100 years that we should discuss these matters. In a special way, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for steering this House. I've been in Parliament for the last 2 years. I've watched you. I've seen you sit in that chair. I've seen you exercise fairness. I've seen you exercise professionalism. I've seen your patience, Madam Speaker, and your resilience. And I cannot thank you enough, and I admire you. And I want to thank you for being the speaker that you are to the people, to the members, and in a very special.
Okay, yeah, half a minute to close. Let's close. You can close. Half a minute, just close.
Okay. I can conclude. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was thanking you for what you have done. And I was reminding you of one incident when some madman fell on me in Parliament. People made fun of me. I had just joined Parliament. And they made videos and they were circulating all over the place. But thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. You didn't castigate me, you comforted me. I thank you, and you're the Speaker. You will be the Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Obote. Okay, Obote, Azar, Machori Omoki, and we close completely now.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I feel privileged, proud, and honored to stand here on this momentous day when we not only celebrate and commemorate 100 years of this Parliament, but this is also the first day of the next 100 years of this Parliament.
1st December to 11th December 2017 was integrating citizens and strengthening interparliamentary relations through sports. And you were number 1 on that delegation. I have the record here. Congratulations to you, Madam Speaker. What happened there? In athletics, men got gold. Women got gold. Tug of war, women got gold. In walking race, silver. Netball, gold. Football, gold. Golf, gold. Women golf, also gold. So I want to thank Parliament through you, Madam Speaker, that the integration process of this community member states through sports. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Macho, and then Yomoki. Then I go to Centenary for the Centenary.
Madam Speaker, to thank the mover of this motion. Madam Speaker, I want to celebrate together with other Ugandans for our parliament having made 100 years. Madam Speaker, whereas we make 100 years, there's a big question which you deliberated on well when you gave the whole country the names of the speakers who have steered this house. I'm proud to be part of the history to celebrate the 100 years. But the celebration that I am celebrating of, the thanks goes to you too, as the driver of the Parliament of Uganda when we are celebrating the 100 years. Madam Speaker, I want to thank you that I am born on the border of Kenya and Uganda. And sometimes I cross from Busia, Uganda to Busia, Kenya, Uganda enjoy with my colleagues who are senators in Kenya to have nyama choma. But the brand you have built for us as the Parliament of Uganda makes me always very proud. Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for the brand you have built for this Parliament, the brand that has brought unity among all the 3 arms of government, the brand that has made the Parliament be a voice of the voiceless. The brand has made Parliament to be the voice of the grassroots people. And Madam Speaker, that makes us to be one of the best parliaments in not only East Africa, but in the Sub-Saharan Africa and Africa at large. Therefore, I want to thank you. And I want to thank the staff too, because a brand is made with a group of people. And Madam Speaker, with that brand, that's why I keep praying to God these days, day and night, that God may you allow the brand that Rebecca Litwala Kadaga has built in these 100 years continue. And I think when it will continue, our Parliament will continue making a name. And Madam Speaker, through that prayer, I'll pray even with action, that I'm one of the people who will vote for you in the 11th Parliament. In fact, when you don't contest, some of us shall drag you to courts of law because of the good brand you have built for the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda. Madam Speaker, at the same time, the welfare of Parliament of Uganda in the 100 years, I think we lead by example in the East African Federation. And I pray that this should continue, because when leaders are comfortable, Madam Speaker, they lead their people very well. I therefore want to thank the move of the motion, the ex-minister, that the fact you have done the best thing. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Yomoki, the Honorable Centenary. Is the minister, is still a minister.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this motion. We mark this milestone as Parliament in a special way and a high tide, given the contributions by honorable colleagues who have contributed and testified to the strength and to the goodness that has come out of the various seasons that we have passed through as Parliament.
Many times we can celebrate a milestone with a time when things are not doing well, but I thank God and I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for presiding over this particular moment when the House and the Parliament is proud of the progress that has taken place in systems and various areas. I joined here, Madam Speaker, about 25 years ago, and at that time Parliament was weak. We didn't have assistants, we didn't have many things, and I've seen the last 25 years Parliament growing to this level. So I really want to thank you as being part of the people who have made this Parliament to grow. And I know, Madam Right Honorable Speaker, that you have enormously contributed because in the last 25 years, I know what has been taking place, to the extent that even as we start the new century, the next 100 years, we have been prepared because we already have a new chambers that is going which is being worked on to house the coming parliaments. So I think, Madam Speaker, you have stood the test of time. Even the way you presided over this time of the COVID, it was so good. Most of the institutions could not continue, but as Parliament will continue in an arrangement that has really stood the test of time. I just want to stand here to thank the people of Uganda and especially the NRM government for having allowed us special interest groups to be in this house, because this Parliament, I think, is the only Parliament in the world that has special interest groups. To the extent that some of us, Madam Speaker, would maybe never have been in Parliament, because for me in 1996, I was enjoying myself outside doing masters when I got an angry email. Workers demand that I come back, and if I don't come back, I should never come. Because I never thought of being a member of Parliament. So I had to come. And when I came, I had to remain around for the last 25 years. So you can see that I continued with the work, which I had not thought I would be. But I want to end on a good note. I have seen I have seen colleagues, a lot of fear that the storm is coming concerning your Right Honorable Speaker. But for me, I think it's a good way, because there are only two schools of thought, which is a vote of confidence. Some saying the Right Honorable Speaker should remain as Speaker, and others saying he becomes the Vice President. And for me, all those are very good. It means there is a vote of confidence. Yeah, there is no one is questioning that the Right Honorable Speaker has presented very well. So for me, I'm very proud of you that you have had a Speaker who has presided over this season and whom all of us enjoy. And therefore, we only ask you, Right Honorable Speaker, to pray that God allows you to take up one of those positions, because you never know. It might end up like the current situation in Tanzania. So sometimes don't fear. Just pray and ask God whether to remain or to take up the other one. You never know what God wants. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, now Centenary. Centenary will be followed by Honorable now what?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker,
Is that Emmanuel Onyeto? Okay.
for giving me
Centenary
this
now what,
opportunity
Onyeto? Yeah, okay.
to be part of the deliberations commemorating the first ever centenary celebrations of legislation of the Parliament of Uganda. I am humbled to be here, and I would like to first of all thank you for the good leadership you've offered. When I was listening to the genesis of this Parliament from a court somewhere in Entebbe, and now to almost a brand new chamber that is going to accommodate about 600 members of Parliament, I look at real steady progress, and especially the progress that is associated with a mama. I was raised by a woman, and I'm proud of these mothers here, who has also given us an opportunity to, first of all, be confident in whatever we are doing, because this Parliament has been faced with a lot of storms. the military invasion of the chambers, the numerous attempts to overthrow our constitution through various amendments, some of which are not even necessary. But we have tried our level best under your stewardship to ensure that the will of the people is protected and respected. This can be manifested through the attrition rate. Actually, the attrition rate of parliament is a reflection of inclusive leadership, because this is the only institution of government which is so attractive that everybody wants to come and be part of. Meaning that whatever happens here is so attractive to the citizenry, and they all want to be part of these processes. Perhaps I would advise, as we celebrate the 100 years, that our separation of powers is still wanting, especially where the executive is so much interested in meddling in the affairs of the legislature. They should stick to their arm of government. It is not by mistake that this government is constituted of 3 arms, and therefore each arm of government should be respected and allowed to conduct its business with all the due respect and immunity it deserves. Uganda has come from far. Even when we are talking about
Now what? Ongeto. Then we have Honorable Muiru Amai Ogwar. Then I'll get the group in the middle. I've seen you all. Honorable members, it seems really you should just do this business for today. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. And I would like to thank God that I'm among those celebrating this occasion today. And I would like to thank all the speakers of parliament, the members of parliament, and the technical staff who have served this country from the time of inception of parliament up to date. Madam Speaker, the Parliament of Uganda is a people's parliament through the various activities. Madam Speaker, in 2018, you introduced the Science Week. I'm a member of the Science Committee, and members must have seen the innovators coming here. And following that, Madam Speaker, Parliament passed a loan. Parliament passed the Innovation Fund. Just recently, we moved around to see what that fund was doing. And we saw that the innovators are really put that money into good use. Madam Speaker, the Parliamentary Week is a very good idea. It engages the parliament, it engages the public. I took off one time in one of the parliamentary weeks. I watched the people, the way they were electing their speaker. Then later, they were in their house. I watched them on the screen debating contemporary issues. Madam Speaker, that motivated them. And most of them later on even went to stand to vie for leadership positions at various levels back in their homes. Madam Speaker, I would like to thank you for your hard work, your leadership skills, and your lobbying skills. I remember in the 9th Parliament, when I joined, there was no parking. Members would park outside, and our vehicles would be vandalized. You planned for this parking, Madam Speaker, where all our vehicles are being parked safely. Madam Speaker, it is because of the hard work and your lobbying skills that this parliament was able to host the recent CPC. And there was another one that Parliament of Uganda hosted in the 9th Parliament. All that is because of your lobby skills. And that brings credit not only to you, Madam Speaker, but to the Parliament of Uganda. And I would like also to thank honorable members for being supportive to each other. I remember one time I went with colleagues to my village, irrespective of their political shades. They accompanied me to my district where the honorable minister did testify that there are no radios. Madam Speaker, I was there with Honorable Semuju. I was there with Honorable
important point. Half a minute.
So I was there with Honorable Stata, among others, and we passed on information to the people, updating them about government programs and also talking about FGM, because we had been talking about it, but of course they were not seeing the seriousness. But when they heard from other members of the parliament, they realized that parliament is one. And I pray, Madam Speaker, that this continues. The issue of taking parliament to the people should be reignited, Madam Speaker. When you went one time to Moroto with the honorable members, when you came back, you were able to update the country about the concerns of the members. And this was to the attention of government. And some of the issues were consequently addressed. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Ngeto, then Wamai, Muiru, Ogwar, then I'll get the people in the middle. I've seen you. You're on my list. You're already here. Don't worry. I've seen you, Mbaju. I've seen you, Savagara. I've seen you, Gutamoy, Triamuhweza. I've seen you. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. I'm here to support the motion. And I must say, I'm also very happy to be part of this celebration. Madam Speaker, for once, I want to be the devil's advocate here. As we start 100 years, the next 100 years, we need to be more honorable in terms of the way we join this parliament. Because, Madam Speaker, I must say, today, when we talk about the laws, some of the laws, they are so weak that there are people who rig their ways here and they stay here. And even when court throws them out, they virtually go scot-free. For me, if our laws, 100 years coming, our laws should be such a way that if you are thrown out because maybe you have rigged, you have done something bad, you should be able to pay back our salary and emoluments. That will make it strong, and that will make it difficult for people to manipulate to come here. There are people, for instance, who still come to this parliament because they have been supported by security agencies. That shouldn't be the case. People should come here because of the will of the ordinary people. And because of that, I think as we start 100 years, we need to start with stronger laws that will ensure that this house is respected and we are more honorable. Because sometimes in the eyes of some people, they think we are honorable because we are already here, but otherwise in terms of our actions, in terms of how we came here, we shouldn't even be honorable. So that is my point that I think we need to look at. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Wamai Muiru, Ogwar, Savagara, Triamuhweza, Augon. Oh, I've seen you. Muhindo, I've seen you. Ongo, Ausege, at the back there. I've got all of you.
Thank you very much, Madam Minister. Madam Minister, Madam Speaker, I beg your pardon. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I take the floor to support the motion moved by Honorable Mururu Mukasa. Madam Speaker, I want also to congratulate you for being in the chair when we are celebrating 100 years of legislative work in Uganda. I want also to congratulate members who are here, who are in the 10th Parliament. And we are here on this historical day when we celebrate this day. Madam Speaker, when you read the message from the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, I was touched simply because Uganda is respected as a country, and respected as a country because of its deeds or whatever we do. And all this has gone through the 100 years, through the previous speakers who were in that chair. They didn't manage to steer the house And Uganda kept on moving until we reached this age of 100 years. I want to congratulate all those first members of parliament, men of integrity, men and women of substance, who have kept Uganda going. Now, at 100 years, and for the members of parliament who are here and those who are coming in, what is the role of a member of parliament? That's what you should look at. And to be able to carry out the role of a member of parliament, you must have a strong leadership in the chair to be able to do your work as a member of parliament, to legislate, to pass laws, and to do the oversight, to make sure that you stand strong as members of parliament and check government, to carry out the democratic roles of government. The human rights, those are some of the things you should do. And when you pass these laws, look at the people who elected you to come to parliament, because they're the ones who brought you here, and the laws should be in the interest of the people. You should look at what the Ugandans want, and that's what you're going to be remembered for. So talking about all these things, the most important thing is the people who brought you here and your role as a member of parliament. Look at that one, which is very clear. Oversight.
Okay, Mwiru, Honorable Sobagara, Tuamhueza, I've seen you. I've written all of you. I've written.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the Minister, my good friend Muli Mukasa, for the motion, and I rise to support the motion. Right Honorable Speaker, we commemorate 100 years at a time when all efforts to debase Parliament have been in offing. When you look at the composition of Parliament, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, you will agree that actually the challenges of one becoming a member of Parliament have been more met by the mobilizers out there than the actual politicians who would come to put issues to do with the population at hand. Honorable Speaker, that even poses a challenge. Even as we talk, the public has confidence in Parliament as an institution, basing actually on the individuals of all people who are in Parliament. I'll give an example, Honorable Speaker. When I joined Parliament, I had the benefit of serving on Public Accounts Committee. And whenever the public actually was wondering whether Parliament will deal with issues to do with graft or corruption. But whenever you'd been chair, Honorable Speaker, the public had the confidence that actually we were determined to fight corruption. One time, Honorable Speaker, I was thrilled by your firm stance on ensuring that some of these Public Accounts Committee reports get on the order paper. Because the talk was all over that these serious reports will never see the light of day. They will never get on the order paper because the mafias had infiltrated the government and they will never find themselves there. Right, Honorable Speaker, you presided over very controversial reports to do with Dura, with the compensations, and at the end of the day, actually, these reports, their recommendations were adopted by Parliament. I want to thank you for that. Honorable Speaker, as we commemorate 100 years today, the public out there are looking towards seeing parliamentary resolutions move from being advisory to government to become mandatory. Because what is the essence of us sitting here as Parliament? We take resolutions which are only advisory to government. Honorable Speaker, for instance, I am of the view that recommendations or resolutions of Parliament arising out of Dr. General's report should be mandatory to government, but not advisory, because I am of the view that they arise out of the Appropriation Act. When we appropriate money to government, we appropriate by an act of Parliament. Therefore, Any recommendations arising out of the Auditor General's report from Parliament should be binding on government, and government must implement those recommendations. Short of that, Honorable Speaker, I see a challenge that the public out there will have a lot of confidence in the individual presiding over the House, but they want to see their recommendations implemented. I beg to submit, Honorable Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Gwal. Then Sevagara, Triamuheza, Osege, Butamoi, then I get the group here. I've seen it.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me an opportunity. Just looking at me, you know that there's a bit of history associated with me, so I would request right from the start, Right Honorable Speaker, that the technicians controlling the microphone will be mindful of senior citizens. Right Honorable Speaker, indeed today is a day to celebrate. We celebrate because of where we are. And that's why they say sometimes we don't have to look backwards to know where we have come from. Because if we are to apply the history to what we are discussing today, we will not be using the word celebration. Because the Right Honorable Speaker, the British colonial government put in place the first legico in the year 2020. And of course, the first parliament set in March 21. But what was the composition of that parliament? And what was the purpose of that parliament? And how relevant was it to Ugandans? So, Right Honorable Speaker, that's why when you look back, sometimes you have to rethink whether we are in a celebration mood or we are in a condemnational mood. For me, I want to say it is good the Lord has taken us thus far. So I would want to chop up our history concerning Parliament into three. Let's forget about the post-independence segment of this Parliament, because there was nothing relevant as far as our country was concerned. Your colleague, Right Honorable Speaker, your predecessor, I think it was a British man called Robert Corridon. Robert Corridon was also the governor at the time. So Robert Corridon was getting instruction and information from Whitehall and bringing it to the legislature, made up of 7 British citizens, which was the Parliament of Uganda then. So, Right Honorable Speaker, you wonder, what are you celebrating? Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, of course, slowly by slowly, the membership improved, and I believe that that's when the pressure for formation of parties and struggle for independence started. Right Honorable Speaker, I pray that this Parliament one day should document the role that the Bataka in Uganda played. It seemed to be lost in the history, but the Bataka played a critical role in the formation of pressure groups that made it easy for us to break through the pressure for independence. Right Honorable Speaker, post-independence Parliament definitely has been able to lay the foundation for democratic development, which many of us are products of that effort. And we need to thank our forefathers. We need to thank the late Milton Obote, Benedicto Kiwanuka, the Semogeres who are still alive, and our founder fathers who actually negotiated our independence. We did not have to shed blood, but the people in the Legico had the heart of Uganda. They were willing to sit down and negotiate. And I think that's the spirit we should never allow to get lost in as far as our politics is concerned. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I remember the earlier parliament with a lot of pride because it did not lead us to shedding blood in order to get independence, but instead our independence was properly negotiated. Although I do agree that the management of the unfulfilled agenda was not properly done, and that of course culminated into disaster which happened in 1966. Those are issues that we regret, but of course we have had so many fractures around associated with our history, Right Honorable Speaker. Having the military junta of Idi Amin completely wiping out the legislature crippled Uganda, because then nobody was there to plan for the development, to plan for democracy, so everything collapsed. But we thank God that the post-Idi Amin era was able to put in place some structures, democratic institutions, political parties, and the dynamism of the NGOs that has burst forth the multi-party democracy. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to say that a day like today, we should have invited the former clerks of parliament to be here. If Edward Ochoa is still around, Tandekwire are still around, they should have been here. If Francis Mutagira is still around, he should have been here. So I think, Right Honorable Speaker, this is a very historical event. We should have all celebrated this particular day. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to leave just one message. We are moving to the 11th Parliament, and let nobody go out of this Parliament thinking that Parliament has contributed nothing to the development of our democracy, of our economy, and so on. Right Honorable Speaker, I was here right from the making of the Constitution. And I must say, history has proved men wrong. I'm sorry to emphasize that, because when I entered the parliament, the 6th parliament, of course the Constituent Assembly, we couldn't sit in parliament because we were too large. We had to sit in the Nile Conference Center. But Right Honorable Speaker, we had still the British structured parliamentary chambers, too squeezed for hundreds of members. A chamber was built for just a few members. If you remember, by 1961, I think there were only 78 members. And 1962 Constitution, I think they probably might have reached 100, I'm not sure. But you can imagine that structure of parliament is what I found. And we remain with that structure until, by God's grace, we got some woman who told the people who were actually encroaching into our own premises. You can imagine you have to borrow your neighbor's home to accommodate your children when the extension of your home is being occupied by other people. So this woman, behaving like a woman should behave, who cares for her children, said, "Excuse me, sir, this is part of my building. Can I have it? Because my children are crying." Right Honorable Speaker, the tenants, those who occupied the north wing of parliament, were policemen with guns, but they had to leave because it was a demand of your rights. And then the eastern side was occupied by the judiciary. In fact, I remember one of the ministers, Sam Juba, had an office in the eastern wing. This woman humbly went to the ministry and said, "Excuse me, this seems to be part of my building. And my children at that time, the children of this lady at that time, were carrying their files on the streets to come to parliament." Right Honorable Speaker, who doesn't know that the legislature, the Attorney General's chamber had to move from the Eastern Wing, which is now part of Parliament, the Northern Wing, part of Parliament, parliamentarians, really. Can't you see that? The power of innovation which came to this Parliament. So we were able to transform from the British character to our own African culture. We marry many women, we have many children, we create space for them. And a woman saw that. And not only did we do that, we came when we had only 5 floors. 1 floor was blown up, and now we have 6 floors. How did it come about? Many of us had our vehicles vandalized on the streets. And we had a revolution. We had to create parking lot down in the basement. Who doesn't know? Who hasn't been to that basement? This basement has been with us since the British time, but nobody ever thought we could make use of it. So really, members, do we know what we are talking about? This Parliament and the leadership that be have really transformed the legislature, not only in terms of legislation, speaking English and so on, but even structural development. Parliament is dynamic, and we have even changed the mission and the vision of the current Parliament. And some of you may ask, what? If you have not read it, and you are a member of the 10th Parliament, before you leave, please read it. In the mission and the vision of the Parliament of Uganda, transformational Parliament, a pro-people Parliament. We have to change our vision. What are we looking at? Somebody was saying, let's make it a pro-people Parliament. We're already doing it. I personally, with the first Deputy Prime Minister, we were in Arua to conduct Parliament in Arua. Some of you went to West Nile. I wasn't able to Karamoja. I wasn't there when Parliament went there, took the entire Parliament there, and they planted trees. We want to make it a pro-people's Parliament. It is already there. It is already documented. It is in our Parliament Strategic Development Plan. Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to congratulate the 10th Parliament. In case you don't allow me to speak again, you have done a great job, and I believe that the 11th Parliament will recognize the infrastructure which has been put in place and know that we are not just a member of Parliament, as some of us think that we are just there to pick money. Some of us have never picked money. Before some of us came to Parliament, we were multi-billionaires. And when we came here, we became paupers. But for me, it doesn't matter. I know that I have added a brick to the development of this country. So I don't care what I've lost, but definitely we have done something. Together, we'll remain strong. Together, we'll transform Uganda. Together, we'll stand united. God bless Uganda.
Thank you, Senior, for that submission. Honorable Sevagara, 3 minutes. Muheza, Butomoi, Osege, Muhindo, then I come this side. I've seen you all. We'll all speak. We'll all say something.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, a lot has been said, and I'm also going to concentrate on the 20 years I've been in Parliament, because I'm also celebrating 20 years. Out of the 100 years, I have 20 years, and others have more than that. Madam Speaker, we must thank you for what you have done improving the welfare of members of Parliament. Madam Speaker, if you can recall, when we used to travel, or when we are going to travel, remember, honorable colleagues who were with us in the 7th Parliament, we are being cleared by the office of the Prime Minister. And going outside, you must go and be cleared by the office of the Prime Minister. Remember how we used to get our payments. We went to Bank of Uganda to get it cash out together. That is where we have come from as Parliament. Now, Madam Speaker, when it comes to religious institutions, Madam Speaker, we came here when we don't have any mosque, any prayer room. But out of your good leadership, we managed to get a prayer room, and even our counterparts, the Christians, are now also having their prayers being conducted so that we can conform to our motto, for God and my country. Madam Speaker, finally, Madam Speaker, out of the 100 years, I believe that we don't see, or we don't have any female speaker. I stand to be corrected. It's only you, out of the 100 years, we have only got Honorable Rebecca Kadaga as the speaker out of 100 years. So as we begin the new 100 years to come, where I believe no one of us will be here, let Honorable Kadaga lead us in the next phase so that we can begin our new phase with a lady in the names of Honorable Rebecca Kadaga. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Triamhwesa, Butamoi, Muhindo, Osege. Then I get the group here. Everybody, I've seen you all. Hajat Said, I've seen you. Is that Oseku? Okay. Okay. General. Okay.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, it is indeed a pleasure and a good opportunity for me to make a statement on this 23rd day of March 2021 for the celebration of 100 years of registration in Uganda. And I want to thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for being there for the members of Parliament, especially on matters concerning our voters back there. We have a lot to learn out of this history of Uganda's celebration of 100 years of registration by acknowledging achievements made, challenges faced, as we reflect on the way forward. Indeed, we have registered legislative achievements culminating in the promulgation of the Constitution of 1995, which we are using to carry the country forward. And that was a great work done by Parliament. This Parliament has defended the Constitution to ensure that assumption of leadership positions from local government level to the presidency is through elections, the quality of elections notwithstanding. Right Honorable Speaker, in Uganda, as in many other developing countries, voters, many of them living in poverty, expect their MPs to deliver development to their constituencies rather than demanding that they play an effective role in terms of legislation and oversight. Right Honorable Speaker, as we celebrate 100 years of legislation, we continue to yearn for accountable legislation to promote sustainable good governance. I would like to suggest, Right Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, that apart from legislation, could we probably create a budget as Parliament and make physical, memorable installations in at least every region of Uganda on achieving the 100 years of legislation in Uganda, if it can happen. Lastly, our Parliament should establish a system of fast-tracking the mutually responsibility of consulting, sharing information with voters, and giving accountability of the role to voters than the day-to-day handouts that the politics is being witnessed in this country. I support the motion for this celebration, and I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Butamoi, Muhindo, and Osege. Then I come the group in the middle. Is that Mokitare? Atiku? Okay. Ogono somewhere there. Mbaju, I've seen you.
Right Honorable Speaker, I rise up to support the motion raised by my honorable friend, Attrition Mukasa, on achieving these 100 years of legislation of Parliament in this country. Madam Speaker, I want to thank you sincerely for bearing the fruit of this 100-year celebration with honorable colleagues, because this is a very rare opportunity which we have to welcome. We know the past, We know the current situation, and to me, we plan for the future. We have achieved a lot, as other honorable colleagues of mine has alluded, and that is no mean achievement, but adding more to what your past colleagues did, and you added, I think, the highest value according to my understanding, because what we have discussed, what we have seen, and what we know, I think nobody will add to that magnitude. And therefore, it is important that we celebrate it. We celebrate at the time, you can imagine, when we are no longer in the rails chamber, but we are in these big tents. That is another thing to celebrate too. Madam Speaker, I have only one thing to request you to present during this celebration. When I walked out, I met a group of petitioners from Akokoro. These are Chamshabu village, Yoli, Paris, Akokoro, sub-county, Maruzi, county in Nepal district. A petition written to you on the 10th of this month, 2021, in which they are still praying that their condition, since they prayed, they petitioned this parliament for the third time, and this is the fourth time, I think their case would be reviewed. Because they were sent out of their homeland, their properties were not compensated, and they are now just on the street in Akokoro. And they are not allowed to go even to farm in their former land. So please, Madam Speaker, I think today is a challenge for this House to address this case, and I beg to lay this paper on the table for your attention. Madam Speaker, I wish you successful deliberation and then coming back to your seat, because I want to thank you sincerely again. You ably, when I invited you to go and have prayer service with my family when I met an accident, you ably went and sincerely you did a wonderful thing. Your name has been left on record in my family, in my constituency, and with my clan and clan leaders. Thank you. May God bless you.
Thank you. Honorable Muhindo, then Osege. Maybe Honorable Osege could move closer, so we don't need to take a lot of time. After that, we'll go to the center there.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues. I really take this privilege and honor to be part of the team of legislators that are celebrating the 100 years. I therefore support the Honorable Mululi Mukasa while presenting the motion to celebrate. Right Honorable Speaker, 100 years is a long journey. We are part of the team and part of the system for a journey that was started by those that are living and possibly those that are not living. They have made tremendous contributions that we will keep on counting as achievements. It is therefore important that we continue becoming proud of these landmarks that we take as building blocks, because block by block, we have been able to build this that we are celebrating. It is, however, unfortunate that history will make a record that we are also part of those who dismantled what we had built. A colleague mentioned that there is a very wonderful constitution that Parliament made for this country. However, we are also the ones that have started looking at the different parts of the constitution and made a rewind of what had been made. How I wish that while we move forward we really respect what is good for the country and leave it the way it is. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I want us to look at legislation in posterity. We have the method of selection of the legislators. It is really very unfortunate that the process has been commercialized and therefore does not give the opportunity for every Ugandan to be part of the legislators that will make the next 100 years. It would be important that this parliament and government looks at how we can have a method of selection that does not encourage this kind of commercialization of politics in this country.
Now, Osege, then we go to Augon Mbaju. Osege, Augon Mbaju, Okupa, Atiku. Yes, I see the general there. Honorable Saida, that is Oseku, and Honorable Taka, and Ariak is in the corner there. Okay. I've seen Viandara. Kafuza, we shall close with the Prime Minister.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, allow me to join my colleagues in congratulating us as the Parliament of Uganda, and including all those whose feet have stepped in this house as legislators or as civil servants in a bid to offer a service to this country. Right Honorable Speaker, we can't deny the fact that we have actually achieved as an arm of government. While it is good to thump yourself on the chest for achievements you have made, I think we should look at being excellent. We seek better standards. We can only do better if we look at where we are weak and seek to strengthen our weak points. Right Honorable Speaker, you know, you sent us on an assignment as a Committee of Human Rights of Parliament of Uganda. And we just returned from Gulu on Thursday, last week. Right Honorable Speaker, it was very disheartening as we went to have lunch in one restaurant. We were met by a team of young people who had also come to have lunch in the same restaurant. But the comments that they had and the opinions they expressed about Parliament were very disheartening. They didn't know who was a member of Parliament, and they said, we hear members of Parliament are here having lunch. Now they are broke, they are looking for money. They are just coming out of campaigns. They're exchanging money because of the campaigns of Speaker and Deputy Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, it hurt me. And I think that we need to work at correcting the image of Parliament in the eyes of the public. And that can only be done from what we do, what we say. What we brood in this house reflects on the opinions of the public out there. Right Honorable Speaker, we are looked at as a house of traders. For anything to work out, there must be an exchange of money or something of sorts. I think that needs to be corrected if we are going to continue on a trajectory that will make us proud and walk with our heads high as we walk on the streets of this country. Madam Speaker, also note with concern that the roles of Parliament are slowly being eroded in the eyes of the public. The public is viewing members of Parliament and this house as the legislature as something else that is not provided for in the Constitution. We have become ATM machines. We have become sponsors of various projects and programs. We have become all kinds of things in the eyes of the public. And it does not matter how much a member of Parliament will excel in this house. If they do not act as an ATM machine, they have not performed. I think our PR needs to be heightened.
Just conclude that.
That needs to be corrected and heightened so that we are viewed differently and members can have the time to do their work and concentrate on their work. And Right Honorable Speaker, also the issue of accountability. We are looked at as an institution that upholds accountability. I have been a chairperson of Public Accounts Committee, and I think we need to add some more strength in terms of the way we treat the reports of the Auditor General and reports from other accountability institutions. The country depends on us. The country is looking at Parliament. What fails out there, they look at us as a solution. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Augon, then Mbaju. Then I think I saw Atiku, Ukupa. There was Katuntu there, Kuraije, Oseko Ariek, Hajat Saida. Then we close with the leader.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. As a parliament, indeed we have walked such a long journey. Before we even talk of 1921, Right Honorable Speaker, our history, if you talk of 1884 as Africa, we had a situation where some people decided to sit in Berlin, in Germany, to decide on how to partition this little land or this great land. Madam Speaker, in 1902, Uganda was declared a protectorate. Legico came on board around 1921. 1945, we had the first blacks, Africans joining the Legico for our station here. There is a lady that I'm told of, Honorable Lubega, somebody, I don't know where she is. I don't know whether she's in Kampala here.
Florence is in the...
Florence.
Yes, yes.
Madam Speaker, I don't know what as a house we shall resolve today. Those are a part of our strong history, but we have not done anything to reconsider them. We have historicals of this house, people who have been the face of Parliament in most of these legislative assemblies. Madam Speaker, a person like Honorable Agrawori, and many to name, what are we going to do to such people so that they are remembered for the mark that they have left in this house? Madam Speaker, it's something that we need to consider. But away from sharing the history, because everybody has talked about it, allow me to talk about some proposals that I have in me. Number one, I would propose that, Madam Speaker, we create a committee, a special committee on libraries, archives, and museums. A committee that will help us to carry out oversight, serious oversight. We are talking of issues of enforcing legal deposits. UBC, for instance, here, our neighbors, are supposed to be keeping audio records, the videos. There's a lot of material that people are supposed to be keeping for us as an institution. But Madam Speaker, are we sure these materials are there? Sometimes people own offices. When they ejected or when they leave offices, they live with this material. How do we protect this information? Today, we moved around this Museum of Parliament. Without the team here extracting what we had there, what would we have for this tour? Madam Speaker, it will be a challenge. Therefore, first of all, I want to appreciate you. I think it was around 2018 when our commission decided to sit and say, let us have a parliamentary museum. Otherwise, we would not be having anything. By the way, that's something, another thing that is so big to count to your name, because we would not be having a museum for Parliament, really. I think it's a high time that we have institutionalized for every institution at least to have a strong mechanism of maintaining history in terms of having all these records. Madam Speaker, our laws are so weak in terms of keeping this information. We need now to revisit all the laws, like now the Historical Monument Act needs to be reviewed. Madam Speaker, the legal deposit law needs to be attended to. If we are to really have something that will help us. Individuals are struggling to keep awards, for instance. Footballers who get awards, athletes, they want to keep this as in individuals, but it's very difficult. How I wish people learn to institutionalize this kind of thing. It is much more better. Madam Speaker, I want to say something on sensitization. Ugandans don't know the value of keeping history. Sometimes, like now, you have seen challenges in Tororo. When we want to sort a problem in Tororo, we want to run to London and ask the Londoners to give us information so that we sort out a problem in Tororo. We don't keep information. We don't keep records. We don't value monuments. So it is something that we must, as a country and a house, attend to. Our people who are here, in the Museum of Parliament need to be strengthened. We need to pay them well. We need to give them strength in terms of money. We need to strengthen our Museum of the Parliament of Uganda because this is the source of our history. And I want to thank you so much, Madam Speaker. We are at the no man's land where we are now living the 100 years and going for the next 100 years. And Madam Speaker, it is better for a man to walk after it has rained so that somebody can trace their footsteps properly rather than move when it has not rained. It will be difficult to know where you have gone when you get lost. I thank you, Madam Speaker. That is from me.
Honorable, thank you very much. Honorable members, you know, I think we enacted the law on monuments, museums. I'm not sure how it is being implemented. Honorable, our organ has raised a very important point. I think our committee on tourism should take an interest in the implementation of that law, and there could be something we are missing. Thank you, Honorable Mbaju.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to make a comment on the day of commemorating 100 years since this parliament started. Madam Speaker, I wish to add my voice and my colleague members of parliament and the move of this motion, appreciating the achievements that this parliament has made in the last 100 years. But also to recognize, Madam Speaker, that in the 100 years we have not only made achievements, there are mistakes that have been made, which are still happening now and which we ought or have to correct. Madam Speaker, I want to thank you and I agree with my colleague members of parliament that it is important, beside what we do here, to extend parliament to our communities. I had an opportunity of inviting you to my constituency, Right Honorable Speaker, and from that day you were there, the constituency has changed. If you could go to Usara Secondary School, which you visited, you can't believe the road which you went through. Government has provided over 15 billion shillings to tarmac that road, and the road is still going on to 63 kilometers. To that, I want to thank you, Madam Speaker. If a speaker alone could visit and we get that achievement, what would happen if Parliament visited? However, Madam Speaker, I would wish to recognize that in the 100 years, there are periods which this Parliament must regret. For example, the period when this Parliament was suspended from 1971 to 79, it is a period which we do not appreciate at all. There is a period where a head of state was at the same time the speaker. That did not move well with the independence of this of Parliament. We also need to recognize, my Honorable Speaker, that 100 years of legislative activity in this Parliament, today we can celebrate these years when we have a member of Parliament who cannot walk because he was mistreated, injured, and tortured in this house and is moving on crutches. Honorable Namboze today is still moving on crutches. Honorable Zake cannot turn his neck, yet he was beaten and injured doing his work in this Parliament. Madam Speaker, in the implementation of the laws we make in this Parliament, we still hear of a Chief Justice stealing a file of a colleague, Justice of the Supreme Court, trying to implement the laws that we make in this house. This is Madam Speaker, one thing. Madam Speaker, it is unfortunate, and the next Parliament and government must ensure that in the next 100 years, these unfortunate events must not resurface again, such that we can build this Parliament and strengthen its purpose and mandate towards ensuring good governance. We have had an opportunity, we have not had an opportunity of coming here to Parliament or somewhere else, celebrating a president handing over power to another president peacefully. It has not happened. Yet we make laws here day after day. What we only hear are elections have been rigged, a candidate wants to go to court, he is engulfed and detained in his home, he cannot have an opportunity to file all court documents. It is very unfortunate. However, the 100 years have not been in vain.
the achievements we have made and the steps we have made gives me confidence that we can do better. I want to thank you. I want to thank you.
Honorable Okupa Atiku. I don't know where Katuntu is. Okupa Atiku. Okay. Hajat Saida. Taka Kuraijo Seku. Ariek. Okay. Wopa, I've seen Wopa there. Maybe those members could move closer so that we don't waste too much time. Honorable Seku, Brother Honorable Saida. Honorable Ariek, please move closer.
I want to thank Honorable Murule Mukasa, my good friend, for the motion, and I stand here to second the motion. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I also want to thank the people of Castillo County for having made me part of the 100 years, because for the 20 years of the 100 years, the people of Castillo has kept me as their representative, and I want to thank them for that wholeheartedly. Madam Speaker, the good and bad has happened, but we celebrate the good and build on the good things that we have seen and learn lessons from the bad things that happened over the 100 years. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, you did a very great thing when you invited all members of parliament since the parliament of Uganda started. The president made a commitment that is going to give a handshake to former members of parliament. To date, Right Honorable Speaker, speaking here, the president has not fulfilled. I know with the background I have that every financial year, the Parliamentary Commission meets His Excellency to discuss the budget of the Parliamentary Commission. May I appeal on their behalf that you remind His Excellency of that pledge. As I was seated here, I saw a message sent to me by former members of parliament, one of which is the first woman in the legislature, one of the first, Francis Akelo from Teso. She needs government's hand. If we are celebrating today, if it was not for COVID, Madam Speaker, would have been also the right time to have invited all the former members of parliament who have contributed to the legislature and to the development of this country. Madam Speaker, take that appeal from the members, former members of parliament, such that the His Excellency fulfills, and you are the one who brought him and he made that pledge. You are waiting, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, how I wished that today, what we started when we were the Parliamentary Commission, which has not been concluded, if it was today as we're marking the 100 years, we would have switched on parliamentary radio. Some colleagues may not be aware, we have a fully fledged equipped radio, but the government up to today has not given us the frequency. Why? 3-4 years down the road, it is just lying idle here, fully fledged studio. How I wish that today that would have been would have happened, such that as we mark this 100 years, we go on air. The first Deputy Prime Minister, please, you are a member of the Parliamentary Commission. Can we see this happen in the next 100 years? As we mark the beginning of the next 100 years, we want to see us, the Parliamentary Radio, go on air. Madam Speaker, it's not a coincidence, but God's blessing that as we are marking these 100 years, we have a clerk, woman clerk of parliament, Madam Jane Kibirige. We also having in the leadership of parliament, the leader of opposition, a lady. We are having you, Madam Speaker, as the Speaker of Parliament. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. These things work because God has planned for it, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have been to a number of Commonwealth countries, and I want to thank you for the message that you read from the Secretary General. And they keep asking me, Madam Speaker, why the Speaker does not have the official residence. All the other Commonwealth countries I've been to, we are hosted at the Speaker's parliamentary residence. I'm not just speaking for you. The Clerk of Parliament has a house. Madam Speaker, I don't know what happened, by the way. The clerk used to have a house near the public service. I don't know what happened to the clerk's house near the public service ministry. What happened to the clerk's residence? If the Bank of Uganda can have for the governor, for the deputy governor, even the IGP, the way the Interpol now, that was the office for the IGP, the official residence. The Chief Justice has, the Deputy Chief Justice has official residence. Why the Speaker who is number 3? And the President has, and even the Vice President has. The last house was where the former Vice President, Paulo Mwanga. That's in Ikololo here. What happened to that house for the Vice President? I don't think those houses were sold. We must dig into this and find out what happened. As we're moving into the next 100 years, we want that. That's how we shall be able to strengthen. We don't want where we have to look for the deputy speaker. You go to where? You go to look for the clerk. You are going to another scattered place. You may want to have a quick meeting. The prime minister has no residence. Why? These are key leaders. Why should we be shy to provide? And I want to see the next parliament move for us to see that happen. People should not be scared about the public. The parliamentary commission, the percentage of the parliamentary commission of parliament to the national budget is 1.2% of the national budget. 1.2%. But you find people making, in Kenya, it's 5% of the national budget. In South Africa, it's 6%. In Tanzania, it's about 4%. But for us, it's 1.2%. And people make a lot of noise. And if we remove the development budget, it's even much less than that. So, Madam Speaker, this should be looked into in the next 11th Parliament. The issue of the archives, Madam Speaker, as I conclude. I went the other day when you announced that today we are going to celebrate. I wanted to look for some information to our library. I could not access some of the Hansard's information. I think we need to start these days electronically. Why can't we do it here? We have the IT department. The other day we were in Uganda Revenue Authority, where the Minister of Works is now digitalizing all the forms, all the reports of the registration of vehicles in Uganda. We have done it in Ministry of Lands, the titles. Why can't we do it for Uganda? That way we shall not be able to lose the history of this country. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you, and I want to wish the Parliament of Uganda, Uganda people of Uganda, a happy celebrations for marking these 100 years. And I want to thank you, Madam Speaker, and wish you the best, that, Madam Speaker, that the movement lives to what it brought, where it says a third of the positions in this country is women. We want that see that in practice. It should not only be in words. Right, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Atiku, Kuraije, Hajat Saida. Then we'll get Honorable Taka. Has Oseku come close, Honorable Oseku? Has Honorable Oseku moved closer? Okay. Then Wofa, we shall close with the Wofa.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Allow me to join honorable colleagues in commemorating these 100 years of legislature in Uganda by starting with where Honorable Cooper left about the residence of the Speaker. Madam Speaker, while touring the pictures that were displayed, I came across a picture where at the bottom it was written, the individuals who are there, I can't recall very well, but it talked about the Speaker's Lodge somewhere in Mengo. So I'm trying to connect with what Honorable Cooper said. Maybe it existed, only that the Parliament has never interested itself in that particular residence or the lodge that was meant for the Speaker. Madam Speaker, the pictures spoke volumes, and it brought afresh my SST memories. Some of the pictures that I saw were some of the things we were taught in SST while in primary school. And that is to, Madam Speaker, to bring out the relevance of some of the things that were taught as pupils, as students in history. That it's not in vain that some of these things are taught to our children. So, Madam Speaker, to make it a point that you have actually provided for a museum in the new chambers that is being constructed, Madam Speaker, is visionary. And I would like to recognize that as part of your contribution
in the establishment of parliament. Madam Speaker, we cannot talk here without appreciating the past leaders, the former members of parliament, those who started, the 7 members of the Legico, and other members who followed until independence. And Madam Speaker, I would like to take this opportunity to recognize my predecessors from IEV, the late Gaspero Oda, the late Badanyanya, the late Honorable Diki Nyai, Honorable Danida Driga, Bakoko Bakoru, and Margaret Amukferu, whom I replaced, Madam Speaker, among all other that have served this country as members of parliament, and all the developments that we see. Madam Speaker, I think it's wrong for the public out there to be castigating parliament, well knowing that there is nothing that functions in this country without the involvement of parliament. So I think it's important that we put it to the public that actually whatever they see happening out there has been first cooked in this August House before it is realized as development or as a service. Last but not least, Madam Speaker, allow me to congratulate you and the members of the 10th Parliament, because under your stewardship, I have personally celebrated the 50 years of independence of this country and got a medal for that. And many, actually not only many, but all members of parliament who have served this country. Under your stewardship, Madam Speaker, I have also been part of the organizing committee that hosted the CPC. Madam Speaker, last but not least, I join honorable colleagues in congratulating you and this August House in changing the face of this parliament, both physically and also by taking it to the community out there. Honorable Cecilia mentioned it here, you were in Arua. The kind of memory you left in Arua has never changed. And it's this parliament that also granted 15 cities. From independence, we have known Kampala. But now, moving forward, we have additional 15 cities. Madam Speaker, all these cannot go unnoticed, and want to credit you for steering these developments in this parliament. I thank you for God and my country.
Thank you. As I invite Honorable members on the question of the medals, originally the plan was to, I think, decorate the members of the 8th Parliament. So I felt that it would not be fair to decorate the 8th Parliament when there are other parliaments that have been on whose shoulders we stand. So I took the decision that we should decorate everybody who was still alive, and those who are dead to decorate posthumously. Thank you. Honorable Kuraije.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I thank Honorable Mukasa for this motion. Right Honorable Speaker, I personally thank God for being part of this history. I also thank the Commander-in-Chief who nominated me to be elected, and I thank the UPDF that elected me to represent them in the 10th Parliament. I would like to thank you in particular for having given me the chance to lead the Security Committee for the CPC. It's part of my CV now, and I salute you for having had the confidence. But I have a personal tribute to you. In 2016, there were some elements that wanted to pull me out of this house, and Madam Speaker, I stood your ground, and they lost. I salute you personally for that contribution. I would like to salute the people of Uganda for being resilient, even when Parliament was in trouble. People are talking of only their meantime, but we had also no Parliament between July 85 and some months of 1986, when the UNLA overthrew the president the second time. We didn't have a parliament in those few months. I was lucky to have entered this house first as a staff in the NRC when I would accompany the chairman of NRC as a private soldier. It's gratifying that I'm back in this house and now as a member. And I've seen quite a number of developments that you have spearheaded as Speaker. We cannot ignore the development Parliament has undergone thanks to your stewardship. And we salute you for the innovations that you have made. I would like to appeal to the coming parliaments. First and foremost, I join Honorable Mwiru in requesting that the recommendations of the Auditor General be made binding on the individuals that have been named. That's the only way we can fight the thieves that people have baptized the corruption. It is stealing, not corruption. So these thieves must be dealt with and the government money recovered. That's when the resolutions of Parliament will maybe be relevant to the history of our country. Secondly, I would request that the coming parliaments do promote public accountability. If we have allocated the money to an MDA, let us not stop at the paper accountability, but let people show us what they have done with this money, particularly the projects we finance. If money has been allocated, you who is heading that MDA, you should show us what you in terms of what exactly is on the ground. That will improve on the service delivery. Lastly, Madam Speaker, this country ought to have a value system. We are talking about the public turning members of parliament into ATMs. It's the value system in the country. Quid pro quo. But if people realize that it is serving your country, whether there is money or not, then they will not look at members of parliament as ATM. Right, Honorable Speaker, I salute everybody and wish you all the best in the celebrations. God bless Uganda.
Thank you, Honorable Saida Bumba, Honorable Ariek Taka, Seku, then Wopa, and finally our leader of opposition. Then I revert to the minister and okay, two ministers and the general.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I stand here to support the motion. Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to start off by congratulating you as the sitting presiding officer of this parliament, and also to congratulate your predecessors in office, and to congratulate sitting members of parliament and all those who are here before us. Madam Speaker, this parliament has depicted or maintained our model of being a God-fearing country, for God and our country. We've held the national national prayer breakfast for so many years. If it were not for the advent of the COVID, I'm sure we would have held it last year. We've been having the Ramadan futru every year for the last 10 years, but of course we missed for the obvious reason of COVID. Right Honorable Speaker, you've ensured that all the special religious days are recognized in this house. And that's very important because nothing happens without the support of the Almighty Allah. Right Honorable Speaker, this parliament is one of special attributes. I think it's unique in the whole world. It is a truly representation of the people of this country. Different people of different shades, people of different characteristics are all recognized in this country. I don't think there is any other parliament which has got the special attribute like the parliament of Uganda. And this has given an opportunity for the hitherto marginalized people to have their voices. And Right Honorable Speaker, the legislation which has been surpassed, most of it support that this is a true pro-people legislature. The Equal Opportunities Commission, which was operationalized, the constitutional provision, which was operationalized under your leadership. The gender budgeting, which became a model for all the parliament of the world, also came into play during your time. Madam Speaker, This parliament has recognized the important biological role of a woman by setting up a daycare center to look out to help those mothers who are. To conclude? For the feeding mothers to feed their children. A number of constitutional provisions have been operationalized, but there are some yet to be operationalized, like the one for setting up the Kadhi courts. This one is very important for the Muslim faith because there are so many legal issues pertaining to the Muslim faith which cannot be adequately attended to in these other courts. One of them, you remember, Right Honorable Speaker, we passed here the Islamic banking. The Islamic banking has remained on paper because we have not set up the Kadhi courts. These Kadhi courts, Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to pray that as we enter the second centenary of this of Parliament is taken into consideration. And all those other constitutional provisions which have not been operationalized, let's do our best to operationalize them. Congratulations. There is no success without challenges. The challenges have been there, but I'll talk about you, the one I know, the way you have managed these challenges. I want to say that you're a special woman. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Honorable Taka, then Honorable Bariek, Honorable Nasio, Honorable Seku, the leader of opposition. You have just come. Then Honorable Karubanga, Kafuzi, and the Prime Minister. You've just arrived.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. And I wish to congratulate you and everyone for this day. And I thank whoever has contributed to my ability to stand here as part of this August House and part of this day. Madam Speaker, before I continue, I had a point that Honorable Saida mentioned that I can't ignore, but just highlight a little bit. The issue of the breastfeeding center. Madam Speaker, how I wish this would be replicated in other working places, because I've had an opportunity of being a worker, a mother, working out of Parliament, and a mother in Parliament. And it was a very, very good opportunity for me to work as a member of Parliament and a mother using the breastfeeding center. Madam Speaker and members, I wish to draw your attention to the poverty levels in our country. As members of Parliament, there is need for more time to scrutinize policy statements and the budget so that we really focus our little money, our little resources to improving lives of Ugandans. This has been a very big challenge. We have our Ugandans who cannot afford to pay fees, and this turns out to us as members of Parliament. You find a village with over 300 people not able to pay a community contribution of 100,000, 200,000 for a borehole to be constructed, even repairs of 50,000. Meaning that this talks much about our population. And I wish that we would focus more on how much we can engage government to take in our inputs in the budget. Most of the time, I really feel dissatisfied by that process when we are in committees and there is very little time and they are saying, no, please, there is no time, Honorable, just confirm and we go. When actually we are leaving out. And sometimes even the recommendations that you make, the public servant.
Okay, just conclude.
the public servants will take the notes and then go back and nothing has changed. And this has influenced even on our roles as members of parliament. Because of the negativity that we get, other new people who are coming to stand as members of parliament go out to promise what government is supposed to give outside the roles of parliament. And it has shaped our roles as members of parliament, bringing a very big workload to members of parliament. And we've become enemies of the public because of that failure to compromise, to really look at the targets. Let us scrutinize the loans that we pass. The oversight role, how much impact have these loans brought in the lives of Ugandans? So then we shall celebrate our roles as members of parliament. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Oseku, then Ariek Nasio, then Lope, and then I turn to this side. No, you've just arrived. No, please, you've just arrived. No.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I would like to begin by thanking the Minister for bringing this motion. And I want to say that I am in support of the motion. I want to acknowledge and appreciate the role of the previous and current members of parliament as we commemorate 100 years of the existence of our parliament, for the contribution they have made, which has brought us this far. Madam Speaker, in particular, of course, we want to recognize your contribution to this House. In terms of the legislature of Uganda, you are part and parcel of the Parliament of Uganda, and you are a household name in as far as the Ugandan citizens are concerned. And I also want to say that having been here in Parliament, we want to appreciate your contribution, especially in ensuring that we attend and handle matters that pertain the livelihoods of Ugandans. 100 years of Parliament of Uganda is good enough. We have come far. We want to thank God for that. But like it has been reflected, a growing concern is about the debate of our Parliament, Madam Speaker. And for me, compared indeed to the previous debates, I think we need to up our game to improve on our debate on issues of Parliament. And I want to say something that may be a bit sticky, and this is about the qualification of the people who are elected as members of Parliament. Many times, just because the law provides that a member of Parliament has a minimum qualification of senior 6, there is a belief by some negative forces that the members of Parliament are senior 6 members, senior 6 leavers. So I think after 100 years, Madam Speaker, it is high time that we revisited the provisions of the law, especially Article 80, which provides for the qualification of members of Parliament. I think it is in order really that we raise the qualification of members of Parliament in terms of education to have a minimum qualification of a degree. It will improve on the image of our Parliament and also the quality of debate, but as well as our interaction with the rest of stakeholders, not only inside our country, but outside also. The role of the Parliament provided for under Article 79 is to... Speaker, I was quickly referring to this provision of the Constitution for members of Parliament to make laws for the good governance, development of the country. But, Madam Speaker, a senior 6 leaver may not really be somebody who can be able to meet this demand. And this also translates to the lower legislation that we have delegated to the councils in the districts and also the sub-counties. So I think critical
judiciary say this man should go, or this woman should go 4 months, you are taken to Zira or where. Altogether, this performance is put, then it brings stability in this country. That's why there is stability, because the three arms are working together. But this is not the time to say this has done this. This is letting us down. No. I think this is not the time. We are actually trying to celebrate what has accumulated 100 years, which now we are calling Parliament, because we don't have time for criticisms now. So for me, I thought we should thank each other and thank Parliament for so far what you have done. I want to thank this Parliament anyway, 10th Parliament. I want to thank 10th Parliament for raising the standard of this House high. Somebody was talking about P6, no, A level. But for me, I have seen and I found that the House, the standard of the House is very high, especially in debating. These members of the House are living in a world of technology. They know a lot. They know everything. Whatever happens anywhere in the world, they know. Even here in the country, they know. And this is the free place. This one, whatever you say here, everybody who wants to hear can hear. You have no way of stopping people from listening what you are saying. In the country, anybody can tune in your channel. Finish. They hear. If I don't come here, I listen when I'm in the house. Everybody who talks, I hear. So if public hate you, they can hate you correctly, because sometimes you are careless. Whatever you say here, you don't control. You don't control yourself. You don't even bother whether you are hurting other people or not. That is not fair. You must control, you must also take care of yourself. You cannot just say to whom it may concern. But at least, for me, I know you have raised a lot of the standard. Even this A-level issue, you don't talk about. For me, the standard of house is very high. And I think majority of you are graduates. Majority of you, except you may not be able to know how to use it. So I want to ask to change a bit. There are a lot of information we know we should use it properly. Use it in our favor. Don't make people use it against us. Use it in our favor. Now, Madam, this country, this government has even made a freedom of speech. People speak freely. Here, who stops us from speaking? We speak freely, but how much people do you hurt? Do you know? Or what are you pleased people or not? So this is sometimes what we think. For me, S6 is good because the poverty level is still high in the countryside. And people, when they come here, when they are S6, they may get opportunity to increase, to study by going to maybe this thing here on Ginger Road, what we call it, UMI, by going even to Makerere. Me, I came and I studied the law in 206. Initially, I was O level. I started for O level in 1966. And our O level was marked in Cambridge. I joined the army based on that O level. When I lost election in 206, before even that, I was studying by correspondence, this A level. So by the time I lost election, then I used this correspondence, what I got. I went to Makerere to UNEB to, it is quoted to A level. Then I went to Makerere, they allowed me to study law. Because if you block those with the A level, you are blocking many people who even may be brighter than you actually. So only that they didn't have chance. Just because they didn't have opportunity, because the poverty would not allow them. So please, if you arrive here, whatever vehicle brought you here, allow others to use their own vehicle also to come here. It's a place for everybody. So when they come here, they will know what to do with their future. This attitude of when I get everything, then the rest can go to hell. That's not fair. I was talking of freedom of speech. No, I'm not reading, I'm just referring to what I want to say because I don't want to say everything as I was advising you to be careful to what to say. So I must also guide myself. I should not to contradict what I've said. Be careful, don't hurt everybody because you're a member of parliament. So I'm saying, government allowed freedom of speech. Government allowed a lot of chance for people to go and do elections. There is regular, free, and fair elections for those who want to become elected to be elected. So therefore, Madam, we should thank everybody who thought about first parliament to be celebrated today of 100 years. Everybody from that time to now who participated should be thanked. And we appreciate it. And I express it to you also, Madam. They have already thanked you. If it were being turned into money, you would have been very rich now. But I want to also thank you for good work done. There is a stability in this country, which I must talk about it. Regular, free, and fair elections because of stability. And this stability has helped us even develop our country. And how do you prove this stability is there? Just ask yourself, why do 1.5 million refugees come to Uganda? To do what? They have their country. Why must they come here? Because there is a stability. There is a peace here. And we also need peace. So for me, I On behalf of the executive, I want to thank everybody who has appreciated what has been done. And I also want to appreciate the cooperation of everybody that has contributed to our achievements. And I help the government also to reduce on poverty so that we will soon go for middle class. Otherwise, Madam, I think that's why I've spoken last. I hope I have not hurt anybody. But even if I had, I think part of it could also be so possible. What can we do now? Because if you have hurt him, I would have hurt you also. But anyway. Otherwise, Madam, I think I should stop here. And thanking everybody, colleagues, for the attention. And thank you, Minister, for the motion. And also thank you, Madam, for bringing this here for remembrance. Otherwise, if this Uganda was not created for protectorate, I think we would not even have this first parliament. That's why I say, let's forget that, let's leave it. I supported the motion for God and my country.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Prime Minister. Now, 49 members have contributed to this motion. As you'll appreciate, because of the historical significance, we had to really just concentrate on that so that we make this mark for the centenary. Now, in closing, I want to thank Sir Robert Corrington, our first president of the Uganda Protectorate, and the informal speaker, the clerks, the staff over the years. I want to thank Right Honorable Sagrish Bowen, Right Honorable Narendra Patel, Right Honorable Edward Rugumayo, Right Honorable Alex Waivale, Right Honorable Francis Mutajira, His Excellency Yoweri Museveni, and Right Honorable Alhaji Moses Chigongo, Right Honorable James Pakabulo, Right Honorable Francis Ayume, Right Honorable Edward Sekandi, for the work done over these last 100 years. Therefore, for the question that the question we put, those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Let's have it. I put the question that this House do resolve as proposed by the motion. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Let's have it. Now, members, I just wanted to inform you about something about our corporate planning and strategy office is doing to produce a legacy report for the 10th Parliament to highlight Parliament's performance and facilitate continuity of Parliament business. There is an online tool which has been sent to your emails for you to give your feedback, your experiences, and recommendations for the betterment of the 11th Parliament. What you think needs to be done for the 11th Parliament. So please check your emails, and I urge you to engage in this exercise, participate, contribute before the 31st March 2021. We don't have too many days. Please handle that. So now, members, the House adjourned to tomorrow at 2 p.m. I hope the committees now have had time to go to harmonize whatever they wanted to harmonize so that tomorrow we'll go straight to our bills. Thank you. House adjourned.